In the deep blue smoke of a Mississippi juke joint, 1947, the crowd swayed like reeds in a storm to the voice of a woman who sang like she'd been to hell and back. Her name was Etta Mae Johnson, but folks called her Blue Flame on account of her voice, hot and haunting. Etta wasn't born with that voice. No, she earned it, paid for it, some would say, with something more precious than gold. Back in 1937, she was just another tired housemaid in Clarksdale, Mississippi, with dreams bigger than her circumstances. Her voice was decent, but not divine, not enough to rise above the cotton dust and the noise of men who never listened. So one muggy midnight, heart full of want, she walked to the old crossroads outside town where the rail tracks met the river path, the place the old folks warned you not to linger after sundown. There, she met a man in a red suit and red hat. His smile was wide and white, and his eyes glowed red in the moonlight. He didn't need a name. He knew it before she opened her mouth. "You want the world to hear you, don't you, Etta Mae?" he asked, voice like molasses over gravel. "You want to sing so sweet it'll make men cry and women tremble?" She nodded. "All you gotta do," he said, "is sign your name in song." And so she sang, one verse, raw and true. The pain of her whole life poured into every note. And when she finished, the wind stopped. The crickets fell silent. The devil tipped his hat and vanished, leaving behind the fire in her throat. 1942, Etta Mae, now known on the circuit as Blue Flame, was setting fire to clubs from Memphis to Chicago. Word traveled faster than the trains she rode. Her voice could make even the devil weep. She didn't just sing the blues, she was the blues. Her songs told stories of lost lovers, lynched brothers, and dreams drowned in the Delta. And every note she ate seemed to cut deeper than the last. Men proposed to her after the third verse. Women begged her to teach them how to carry pain the way she did. Record men offered her contracts she couldn't even read, and she signed them anyway, because what did it matter? She'd already signed the only contract that counted. But something followed her, always. A flicker in the corner of her eye, a cold breeze in the middle of a hot stage, the ghost of a chord she never played. She couldn't explain it, but she knew the devil wasn't done with her. One night, in Harlem's Cotton Club, she took the stage in a silver gown that shimmered like moonlight on water. The band behind her struck the first notes of Hellhound Moan, a song she'd written in a dream. Or maybe it was given to her. As she sang, her voice reached a pitch so pure, glasses cracked and tears rolled down even the hardest gangster's cheeks. But as the final note hung in the air, her knees buckled. She fell to the floor, trembling. The crowd roared, thinking it was part of the act. But her band knew better. They rushed to her side. Her eyes were open wide, but she wasn't seeing them. Later, in her dressing room, her pianist Luther found her staring into a mirror, whispering a name no one recognized. "Obadiah." "Who's that, Etta?" he asked. She looked at him, tears streaking her mascara. "He say he coming soon. Say my time running out." Luther crossed himself. "You mean the man from the crossroads?" She didn't answer. She just picked up a guitar, the same half-broke one from all those years ago, and started to play a tune nobody had ever heard before. It was slow, sorrowful, but beautiful, like a goodbye sung through a mouth full of ash. The nights grew colder, even in summer. The more Etta Mae sang, the less joy it brought her. Applause felt hollow. Money came fast, but it burned in her hands. Fame had become a gilded cage, and she could feel the devil pacing outside it, counting down her final shows. After that night in Harlem, she knew Obadiah, that name she'd whispered, was no ordinary man. He was the collector, the one who came to seal the deal. But old bluesmen had whispered of a way out, a forgotten hoodoo path. Not an escape, exactly, but a trial, a reckoning, one that only the bold or the desperate dared attempt. She went south, back to Mississippi, under the guise of visiting family. Really, she sought out Mama Delilah, a root worker, hidden deep in the pine woods near Vicksburg. The locals said She was older than slavery and had one blind eye that could still see spirits. Etta found her cabin at dusk, smoke curling from a crooked chimney. Inside, Mama Delilah sat in a wicker chair, staring into a bowl of black water. "You came too late," the old woman said before Etta even spoke. "Then tell me how to come back early," Etta replied, dropping a satchel of money on the table. Delilah didn't touch it. "It ain't silver that buys back a soul," she said, standing with difficulty. "It's suffering, truth, and sacrifice." She led Etta into the woods behind the cabin to a clearing circled with rusted iron, bones, and broken mirrors. There, the root worker poured ash and salt into a circle and handed Etta a small knife carved from lightning-struck wood. "Midnight," she said. "Sing the song you wrote in your dream, the one he gave you, but backwards, from end to beginning. Do it without missing a word, and when he comes, don't look in his eyes." Etta trembled. "And if I mess up," Delilah's blind eye glinted, "then he takes more than your soul." So Etta waited in the circle, alone, guitar in her lap, fingers shaking. Midnight came, and with it, a wind that carried whispers from nowhere and everywhere. She began to sing. Each word reversed felt like breaking glass in her throat. The melody unraveling sounded like mourning in a hurricane. Around her, the iron trembled, and the trees bent as something approached. Then he was there, Obadiah, tall, grinning, dressed in black like a preacher at a funeral. Flames danced in his eyes. "You calling off our little arrangement, Etta Mae?" he asked, stepping closer. She kept singing, eyes lowered, voice strained. "Oh, baby," he laughed. "You think a song can unmake a covenant? That pain you poured into every stage, that hunger you made the world feel, that was me, that was real. You don't walk away from real." She didn't respond, just kept singing. Suddenly silence. Etta opened her eyes. Obadiah was gone. The iron circle was scorched black, and the knife, now split in two, lay smoking beside her. She'd done it. Maybe. Etta Mae Johnson returned to the world like a ghost who remembered she was alive. When she walked back into New Orleans, no one recognized her at first. She had shed the silver gowns and diamonds, wrapped herself instead in simple cotton, and wore her hair natural, haloed like a crown of smoke. Her eyes had changed, softer, sadder, but deeper, like they'd seen beyond this world and didn't much care to return. Word spread quick. Blue Flame was back. The first show she played was unannounced, a favor to an old club owner whose son she'd once taught to play guitar. She stepped onto the small wooden stage of the Willow Room, the kind of place where you could still smell sorrow in the walls. The crowd fell into a hush. She played no old hits, no Whiskey Rain, no Cry Sugar Baby, not even a famous Hellhound moan. Instead, she sang a new song, one no one had heard before. It didn't even have a name, just a raw, aching melody that sounded like a prayer and a warning all at once. People wept. Grown men left the room and cried on the curb like they'd seen a ghost. But there was no fire behind her eyes, no inferno in her voice. The devil's touch, that edge that made her untouchable, undeniable, was gone. What remained was something quieter, but realer, more human. Some critics called her washed up, said the magic was gone. Others, musicians, poets, old conjure women, said she'd been restored, that she was finally singing with her own soul. And yet, Obadiah's shadow still lingered. At her second show, in Chicago, the power went out mid-song. The backup generator blew. A crack opened in the ceiling like lightning had kissed it. No one was hurt, but everyone felt it. The chill, the hush, the flicker of something watching. And in a hotel that night, Etta found a note under her pillow, written in red ink. Just 4 words. "You still owe me." Despite the warning, Etta kept singing. Town to town. No limousines, no entourages. Just her voice, her old guitar, and a purpose nobody could name. Folks began saying her music could heal, that it chased away nightmares, that it helped dying people find peace. No longer was she a star. she had become a legend. And then, after a final show in Clarksdale, a hometown, Etta disappeared. Some say she returned to the crossroads one last time. Others claim she walks the back roads, still singing to the lost, keeping the devil at bay with every breath. But in every dive bar where blues is played, where sorrow is sweet and truth is bitter, her songs still echo. And if you listen real close, just before the last note dies, you might hear the devil weep. Clarksdale, Mississippi, 1950. The club was small, with creaky floors and chairs that rocked more than they sat. The room smelled of bourbon, tobacco, and memory. This was the last place Etta Mae sang. There was no fanfare, no marquee lights, just an old upright piano, a rusting microphone, and her battered guitar, the same one from the deal. The audience was quiet that night, not out of reverence, but because they knew. Everyone could feel it. This would be her last show. She played for over 2 hours. No breaks. Songs nobody had ever heard. Songs she never wrote down. Her voice was rougher, gentler, like someone setting a soul down, not lifting it up. Near the end, she sang something that didn't even sound like English. A low chant, almost a hum, that pulled at something behind your ribs. The whole room went still. Even the air stopped breathing. After the final chord, she looked out at the crowd and smiled. Not the stage smile, a real one. Software peaceful. Then she said simply, "Thank you for listening. I'm going home now." She walked off the stage, left her guitar behind, and never returned. Two days later, a preacher found her by the crossroads just outside of town, sitting beneath the same twisted oak tree where her story began. She was leaning back against the trunk, head tilted to the sky, eyes wide open, but unmoving, not a mark on her. She looked content. In her lap was a folded piece of paper. The preacher opened it. It read, "He came again. I said no. This time, I didn't sing. I listened." And he left. Etta Mae Johnson. They buried her beneath that oak tree at her request. On quiet nights, musicians say you can still hear her humming from beneath the soil. And if you set an old record on slow and let it spin, you might catch a hidden note that don't belong to the song. Some say she beat the devil. Some say she bargained a better end. But those who know blues know this. She didn't die. She just sang herself free.